Alright, today we are going to look at an equation. When you're trying to solve an equation, your aim is to find out the number that is represented by a letter. So with an answer like this, where three. So you're basically trying to be a secret agent and discover what comes up. Okay, so let's start with some examples here. They're going to start off pretty easy and get progressively harder. So when we've got this one here, our aim is to find out what this x represents, what number this x represents. Now some of you will just look at it and see, actually I can work out what it is, okay? And so you can see that a number plus 4 equals 9. So most of you will realise that this number equals 9. We go through a real formal way of doing it, okay? And so the first thing I want you to do is basically we want to end up with x equals something. That's where we want to end up. So we can see on this left hand side we've got a plus 4 that we don't want. So what we want to do is try and get that plus 4 and turn it into 0. So how do I get from plus 4 to 0? The answer is take away 4. Okay? And if I take away 4 from that side, I've got to keep it balanced, as you may have seen in class. I've got to take away 4 from the other side as well. So I end up with just x on the left hand side, and 9 take away 4 equals 5. And that is my answer. Okay? So I've got x equals 5. We'll do the same one on the next one. So here I end up with a number, take away 2 equals 10. And most of you will be able to work out in your head just what that is, alright? But we're going to go for quite a formal way of doing it again. So I want to end up with x equals something. Now on the left hand side I've got x minus 2. I don't want that minus 2. I've got to turn that minus 2 into 0. And hopefully you'll realise how to get from minus 2 to 0 is just plus 2. So I'm going to plus 2 there. If I plus 2 on that side, I've got a plus 2 on this side as well. And so I end up with x equals 12. Okay? And that's my answer. And I can double check. 12 take away 2 equals 10. Fantastic. Next one, same thing. This time I've got 2x minus 3 equals 7. Now this one gets a bit harder. This is called a two-step equation because there's 2 steps I have to do. The first thing I want to do is focus on my left-hand side over here. Okay? So I've got 2x minus 3. Now I want to get rid of that minus 3. So the first thing I'm going to do is go to plus 3 on both sides, which leaves me by saying 2x, the minus 3 and the plus 3 have disappeared, so I get equals, and then 7 plus 3 is 10. Now a lot of you will just be able to see if 2x is equal 10, our aim is to work out what 1x equals. So here, we're just going to divide this side by 2, and divide this side by 2, and hopefully you'll see that x equals 5. And there we are, we have solved our equation. We can check our answer again by plugging it back into the beginning. So we end up with 2 times 5 here. 2 times 5 is 10. Take away 3 equals 7. So we know we've got the right answer. Okay? We're going to try one slightly harder now. This one on the left here. Now this one I've got x's on both sides of the equation. And so what I want to do is still end up with this answer of x equals a number. Okay? So I'm going to start off just by focusing on the right hand side. Now here I've got a 2x on this side. You'll see down the bottom, I don't want any x's on this side. I want my x's all to be on this side. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to first off take away this 2x from this side here. And if I take away 2x from one side, I've got to take away 2x from the other side as well, which is going to leave me with 4x take away 2x, which is just 2x, and then plus 2 equals, the 2x take away 2x is turned to 0, so just equals 12. Okay? Just get this looking a bit neater. So I've got 2x plus 2 equals 12. Okay, now my next step is this. So over here, I've got a plus 2, which I don't want, because you remember down here, all I want is x's on one side and numbers on the other. So I want to take away this 2 from that side here to turn that into 0. So I'm going to take away 2 from there and take away 2 from here. So that's going to leave me with just on the left hand side 2x, and then 12 take away 2 leaves me with 10. And so it's the same as before. All I have to do now is divide both sides by 2, divide both sides by 2, which leaves me with x equals 5. And I can double check my answer by plugging it in. So I've got on the left hand side 4 times 5. Oh. On the left hand side I've got 4 times 5, which is 20, plus 2, which makes 22. Over here, 2 times 5 is 10, plus 12, which makes 22 as well. So I know I've got the right answer. Okay? Right, now this example over on the right here is a bit trickier because I've got a bracket. And the first thing I need to do here is expand my bracket, and that means get rid of it. So what's going to happen there is this here, the 2, what that means is the 2 has to multiply everything in the bracket. So we're going to start off by doing 2 times 3x, which gives us 6x. Oh, which gives us 6x. Okay? And then we've also got to do the 2 multiplied by the 1. So the 2 times 1, which you should all know, is 2. So we end up with 6x plus 2 on the left-hand side. So you'll see everything in the brackets has been multiplied by 2. The right-hand side stays the same, so 4x minus 2. Okay? Now, my next step's a bit trickier. Okay? Again, I want to end up with, down the bottom, x equals a number. Okay? So on the right-hand side, I've got this plus 2, which I don't want. So I'm going to take away 2 from here and take away 2 from here. So I end up with 6x equals 4x. And now, hopefully, you know your negative numbers. I've got minus 2, take away 2, which gives me minus 4. Okay? And then on the right-hand side, I've got 4x that I don't want. So I'm going to take away 4x and take away 4x from this side. So I end up with 6x take away 4x, which is 2x. And that's just going to equal minus 4 over here. Now, here's where we get a bit trickier. Again, I want to divide by 2 because I've got 2 x's. I only want one of them. And I've got to divide this side by 2. And I end up with minus 4 divided by 2 is actually minus 2. Okay? And it's absolutely fine for your equations to end up with a negative or a decimal or a fraction answer. That's absolutely fine. Okay? And look at one more example here, which is this one here. And this one just gets a bit trickier, and I'll show you what's happening. Again, I want to end up with x equals, okay? Now, I'm going to show you, it doesn't matter which side you do it to, which side you start with first. So I'm going to start off by taking away the 5 from here. So take away 5 from that side, take away 5 from that side, which means I'm going to end up with just 2x on the left-hand side. On the right-hand side, I've got my 5x, and then my 20, take away 5, just gives me plus 15, okay? Now, what I want to do is get rid of this 5x here. Okay, so I'm going to get rid of 5x. So I'm going to take away 5x from here and take away 5x from here as well. Now this gets a bit trickier. I've got 2x take away 5x. So 2 take away 5 I know gives me minus 3x. And I know that equals 15. Okay, now what I can do here is I can actually just kind of inverse it. So if I divide by or times by minus 1 and times by minus 1, what happens is I end up with having 3x, because this becomes a positive, and this one therefore becomes a negative. So what we've done is we've inversed it. So the minus 3x becomes positive 3x, and the positive 15 becomes negative 15. Then all I have to do is, like before when we were dividing by 2, now I've got 3x, so I divide by 3, I have to divide both sides by 3, and so I end up with minus 15 divided by 3, which is minus 5. And again, I've got a negative answer, but that is absolutely fine. Okay? So that is how we solve equations. That's the best way to lay it out. I'd recommend always laying it out in this format, just so it shows you where you're going to make a mistake if you do. Examiners love to see it, and you know you won't have a problem. Thank you very much, guys.